Hey, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today, let's talk about why you should never start a project when you're absolutely desperate. Last week I was in a conversation with someone and we were talking about passive income. I was talking about apps as a passive income stream and how it works for me. It's not a great amount, but it's, it does pretty well. And he was talking about how he had run like an eBay business in the past and he's looking to get into Amazon FBA, so the fulfilled by Amazon drop shipping type of thing. I mean, it seems to be really popular at the moment, a lot of people getting into it. In fact, I think it must be just as bad as apps is to just get people to notice your products, because everybody seems to be going to Alibaba and everybody seems to be doing the Amazon FBA thing. And I looked into this a little bit in the past, right? But I just never really started down that route. I thought, that sounds like, it sounded more difficult to me than the gurus make it sound, and I didn't really want to go down that route. But anyway, so when we're talking about the passive income, I asked him if he'd started the Amazon thing yet, and he said no, because the problem was he doesn't have a lot of drive to do it. He says, I've been reading a lot about it, but I just don't have the drive to get started. And the problem is that he's doing pretty well with his job and his other side business, that he doesn't really, he just hasn't had the drive to get started. And I could totally understand that. But the thing was, because I could remember being an employee or working in a contract and thinking, I hope I lose this contract. Well, when I was an employee, I can remember thinking, I hope I lose this job. I wouldn't publicly admit this to anybody, right? I wanted to keep the job, right? I wanted to have the income, but I was really miserable at that job. And this little voice in me was hoping that somebody would make things happen for me by firing me or letting me go or making me redundant or anything like that. Because then I would have the excuse, then I would have the drive to get started with a business or doing something on my own or being a contractor, all this, all the things I thought about doing, but I was too afraid to start. And I just thought, if only something happens to give me that drive to do it, right? I know exactly what that's like, right? In fact, when I started the app, right, I think one of the things that was really hard with starting the first app and actually going out, and because I started doing it myself, and when you do it yourself, it's a lot easier because you're just wasting your own time. But I would get to a certain point where I think other things get in the way and I just didn't have time to complete it. So I invested some money in hiring some developers to do the code for me, and then I checked over the code, made sure everything was right. That was my first outsourced project, right? And the scary thing about it was not something that I needed, right? It was something that I was spending money on, and everybody was saying the same kind of thing. Well, why don't you just hold off? Why don't you just hold off and wait and everything like that? But the thing was, I didn't want to wait until it was absolutely necessary. There's one thing that I've learned over the years, is that when you're absolutely desperate for something to happen, things never go the way that they're supposed to. There was a book, it was an okay book with a really good title by Harvey Mackay I read about 10 years ago. It was called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. And like I said, the best thing about the book is the title, so you save yourself some time. And basically it was the Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. It was about networking. The book was about networking, and he talked about how the fact that the time to build your network is before you need your network. You don't build your network when you absolutely need sales or you need a job or something like that. You sort of build it as you go, and then it's there when you need it. Right, and you see this all the time. You see people who update their LinkedIn profiles when they think their job's in trouble or when they're looking at moving jobs, but when they're in a good job, then they don't touch it, right? Because they don't feel like they have the need, they don't have the drive, they don't have the thing, right? And you can tell with like they say, the best time to look for a job is when you already have a job, because you just have this confidence. You don't have that desperation in your voice, like when you go to interviews. The best time, and when you're if you're dating now, or I remember when I was dating as a teenager, right? When you had a girlfriend, everybody fancies you, and when you don't have a girlfriend, then nobody fancies you. There's this desperation and everything like that. And I find this to do a lot with apps, right? If I had done the apps when I absolutely needed it to happen, I think everything would have gone wrong. There's something cosmic at play there. In fact, I had a client once who, you know, and this might sound a bit sad, but like we're working on the project and we're about halfway through the project, and I told them, I was very upfront about the fact that the app market is very difficult. You know, building the app is the easy part of it. Getting people to download it, that's the hard part. All that kind of stuff. You know, I'm very open and honest about that. But then one day he said to me, he said, Eric, I sure hope this works because I bet the farm on this thing. And it was not a lot of money. I guess it was like $3,000. I mean, it was a really small project, but he was very, very nervous about it, and it made me very nervous. It made the developers very nervous, right? And then we got this perfectionism seeking in, and we didn't want to go live, and it went way too far in development and all this kind of stuff because of desperation. So for those of you who are thinking about doing an app, I know most of you guys have already done an app and you're already doing that and you're learning as you go the same way I do. But for those of you who haven't yet got started, the worst time to get started is when you absolutely positively need it to work. The best time to get started is if you have a job, you've already got a source of income, you can get started on this kind of stuff, you can play around a little bit, make things work. You know, don't wait like I did, like just waiting for the excuse to get started, because sometimes you have to be the person who pushes yourself to make it happen. Anyway, I hope that makes sense today. Hope you guys had a really great weekend, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.